Welcome to True Health Tuesday, and the truth will set you free. Yeah, the truth that we can talk about, because we're some of this stuff is going to be censored, but a lot of this was part of the talk I gave a couple of weeks ago when I was in Thailand at the Four Seasons. Except, have you ever, anybody in here changed in a bathroom in Bangkok from the clothes you were wearing? Okay, good. Okay, yeah, it wasn't real comfortable. I'm telling you, you really appreciate a shower after 15 hours in the plane. Also, Dr. BVIP is going to, this is where the censored material are on, and all those that are supporting us, we've been demonetized, shadow banned, deleted, everything. Thank you very much. It's supporting our channel is vital. Plus, you can get all the videos and everything else. And this coming Thursday, we have the apprenticeship program. We're going to get deep into germs and viruses, bacteria, funguses. You're going to find out about the human ecosystem on a doctorate level. But that's going to be for the Dr. BVIP members. Whoa, $2.97 a month. You can't even get a cup of coffee for that. Okay, and Extreme Health Academy. Bergman 14 is still the code that you can get on there, but this is amazing forums, and I encourage you to support Justin and Kate. I'm on there about once a month doing a couple of webinars. We may be doing it this weekend too. Now, again, this is one of the talks I gave at right when I got off the plane. But I want you to know your potential. Now, this is Benjamin Radford, 2009. The difference between life expectancy and lifespan. Okay, now let's say you take an animal in the wild. Okay, and let's say you take an elephant who's got a lifespan. Okay, and we're talking in the wild, healthy, they can live well over 100 years. Okay, however, their life expectancy in a zoo is considerably less. Okay, why? Because they're not designed to live in a zoo. So your life span, okay, if you were in a normal human environment, is around 115 to 120 years. And we have people that achieve that. So why aren't we getting there? Why aren't we getting there? And this is where thought should, why? Because you are animals in captivity. Now, Public Health in 2013, they're saying there's a rise in Alzheimer's. Now, we can see there's certain medical procedures that induce aluminum. There's aluminum cans. There's aluminum in a lot. And we do see aluminum deposits, okay, that are negatively affecting brains. But that's not the only thing. What else could be altering your genes or altering how your expression is to where nervous system and Alzheimer's rose in 7 out of 6 countries? Now, they're saying epigenetic changes. So that means that your genes have adapted over thousands of generations, but there's a control above the genes negatively affecting your expression. So this is why you're not reaching your potential. Now, when you look at the cells, all the cells in your body, okay, actually have to take in nutrients, produce proteins, and eliminate waste products. But what proteins are they producing? They're producing based on DNA, which is a double helix inside of the nucleus. It's not the sexual reproduction. The nucleus is the blueprints. Now, there's a covering protein in there that decides what protein that cell's going to produce and what cells a protein isn't going to produce. So the cell can produce a protein that could cause cancer. Cell can produce a protein that would eliminate cancer. So it's really based on the stimulus of that cell. Now, inside of that cell is powered by mitochondria. Mitochondria are the powerhouses of the cell. Here's what's weird. The mitochondria have different DNA than in the nucleus. No, I want to see this expression of like, whoa, dude, that's so cool. The mitochondrial DNA is actually given to you by your mom. Okay, they're always carried in the female DNA. And I know there's a couple of people going, female, there's no more genders. No, there's male and female. Okay, this is it. Okay, this is biology. Okay, but it's carried on the female. It's come from the ovary. So the mitochondrial DNA is slightly different. But any defect or mutation in the mitochondrial DNA, think of this, can cause diseases, make the body weak and uncomfortable to produce energy. Ultimately affects the muscles, organs, kidney, and brain. Wow, so anything that negatively affects the powerhouse of the cell can alter everything. Now, you're living in an environment that is completely bizarre. Like if you were in, oh, say the Spanish Inquisition era, they would, or let's say the witch hunting era, okay, back in the 1600s back east. Okay, they would had a belief system of evil spirits and sin being the causative factor of disease. Now, for the last about 120 years, we've been in the pharmaceutical industry where your body is going to develop a symptom, okay? And I feel the symptom is probably there for a reason. Okay, stop me if this sounds completely crazy. Okay, and genetic is not going to be it. Oh no, it runs in my family. Everybody has high blood pressure. Really? Okay, you're making mine high. Okay, so are these really diseases or adaptations? Well, you're living in an environment now where the educational system is taken over by the pharmaceutical industry. So the doctors are actually taught that these are actually diseases. And then there's certain chemicals that you can give to these people. Yes, they have side effects, okay? But you don't need to think about that. As long as the blood pressure is down lower, then you're doing something good. This is why a diagnosis, okay, where you have to come up and label this person, okay, and then you can give it to them. Now, how effective is this at achieving health? Do we have the healthiest population the world's ever seen, or do we have the sickest industrialized nation the world's ever seen? Well, our lifespan is declining rapidly, not just because of the governmental interventions over the last 2.5 years or the massive propaganda over the last 2.5 years. This is propaganda over the last 100 years. So, high blood pressure, what's the official cause? Idiopathic. We don't know. We just don't know. It just happens to be there. But we do have multiple drugs. We know that your blood pressure goes up and down. If you're sitting and you go to standing, it goes up. If you're dehydrated, it goes up. If you slept good, it went down. Okay, so it goes up and down. Blood pressure is going to be regulating based on the efficiency of the blood as well. High blood pressure, I feel, is a stress adaptation. Irritable bowel syndrome, stress adaptation or toxicity. But, just think of this. If you had a caribou with an irritable bowel, would you think it came from their relatives? No, you'd find out what the heck, oil pipe the thing is licking. I mean, it's just common sense. There's got to be some kind of stressor. High cholesterol. The body produces 80% of the over total cholesterol. Cholesterol is 50% of the overall weight of the brain. It's the precursor to every hormone you make. So why would your body elevate cholesterol? Well, for tissue damage or hormone production. That just makes sense. No, the doctor is smarter than you. The doctor knows what your blood pressure should be. Do you see how foolish this is? Okay, but you bought it because we're getting educated by the television. The doctor's educated by his professors, and the professors are paid by the pharmaceutical industry to do the research. So we're caught in a psychotic cycle. Then make it worse. Have the pharmaceutical industry pay for the government, okay, that governs the education, that pays the insurance company to cover the pharmaceutical products. So you are in a circle here of absolute psychosis. Attention deficit disorder, okay, hyperactivity. Do you know anybody with ADD or ADHD? Okay, yes, they don't have it. How do I know? 100% of the people, particularly teenagers, when they come in, I'll say, okay, buddy, you were diagnosed with attention deficit disorder. Do your parents force you to play any video games? Do they say, get your ass back in that bedroom and get on that computer and play more games? And what are the kids doing? Giggling and laughing by this time because no. Oh, you can play video games for hours? You don't have a deficit of attention. You just don't care about what other people care about, okay? They used to call those children, okay? Okay, and multiple sclerosis. These are there for a reason. So if you haven't lost faith in the pharmaceutical system, you're probably one of my relatives who's absolutely drunk the Kool-Aid. Okay. I mean, she'll get every booster that you could possibly line up. Okay. So this is the allopathic model. And this is all belief systems. So you could put anything in here. You could put witchcraft. Okay, we know that the witches are protected. We know that we have a system. We're going to drown the witches. And if the witches drown, God will take care of them. If the witch live, we're going to burn them at the stake. Okay, then you have a problem with that because people are thinking, well, wow, man, wouldn't anybody drown if you put them in the water? Okay, we're going to sacrifice a virgin to save our ship. The ship still went down. Oh, shoot, we're running out of virgins. Okay. Okay, the drugs that the doctor gives you are going to make you healthier and sicker and live longer. Oh my God, we're causing a multiple of side effects and we're dying younger. And the pharmaceutical industry is now controlled by the government where it's actually poisonous. What kills more people in America, guns or doctors? By 1,000-fold. Okay, so now, and this is medication for symptoms, injectables to prevent disease, and don't worry, they're safe and what? Okay, yeah, okay, no individuality. So everybody with high blood pressure isn't going to have a diagnosis. They're not going to have any investigation. They're all going to get a drug. They're going to get a drug. So the vitalistic model, the health freedom model, means everybody has to have be treated, I don't know, what do you think? Like an individual? Okay, now we're all under stress, physical, chemical, emotional stress. And if you're a government that works for the pharmaceutical industry, you're going to want to, what do you think? Decrease this stress or increase this stress? Increase it so you can sell more of your product. So even though there's something as bad as the flu going around, you're going to shut down businesses which don't make any sense. And in fact, liquor stores are essential businesses, churches aren't. Okay, gun stores are essential. We're going to not allow you to visit your grandma or grandpa in the senior center, okay, which is going to kill them from anxiety and stress. What a great way to die. Okay, alone and scared. Okay, emotional health. You're going to have a ticker tape of how many people have died. Okay, you're going to control every media. Okay, that will elevate stress as well. Okay, chemical stressors. Now, all of these stressors activate a primal system in you. This system has been there for thousands of generations. It has kept your species alive. One part keeps you alive under stress, and that's the sympathetic. The other part regenerates tissue, that's the parasympathetic. Under physical, chemical, emotional stress, your body responds correctly. Look at the sympathetic response here. Elevations in heart rate, elevations in blood pressure, elevations in blood sugar, elevations in cholesterol, elevations in cortisol or stress hormones or adrenaline. Those are normal, intelligent responses. Okay, and this is why when people say, oh, my God, I've got a low functioning thyroid. No, you don't. Your thyroid is functioning correctly based on your stimulus. Oh, I got high blood pressure. No, you don't. Your body's responding correctly based on the stimuli. Oh, I got elevations in adrenal hormones and cortisol. And what do I do about to lower my cortisol? Your body's responding correctly based on the stimulus. Do you understand? There's nothing wrong with the body. When you're developing the high cholesterol, blood sugar, or any of those, it's responding correctly. And if you're in a constant parasympathetic state, you have no energy to do anything. You can't live. Now, when we can actually measure this autonomic nervous system, because you live your life through your nervous system, this regulates and controls every function in the body. We have the sympathetic on one side, parasympathetic on the other side. Zona verde in the middle, I mean the green zone in the middle. Okay, you want to be at the top of that. That's called normal. Thanks, God. I just get so confused. Okay, normal. So if you're in the red on the left-hand side of that, that means you're in a sympathetic dominant state. If you're on the right-hand side of that, you're in a parasympathetic state. Both of those are going to have a similar effect. It means that your body is in a chronic state of stress or it can't repair. Both are going to have a similar effect. But at least you can measure it. So now, if you measure the stress and find out the person is under stress, okay, you have a genetics that will adapt to that stress. This is everybody. Like if you're stressing your body, stressing it out, you're going to get bigger muscles. Okay, it's a good thing. Okay, if you're stressing your lungs out, you're going to get good. But if you stress it out too much, it's not good. Now, epigenetics, we're talking about how the mitochondrial, you get that DNA from your mom, and it is passed down through all the females of our generation for thousands and thousands of years. Epigenetics, a control above the genes. It turns out that the psychotic healthcare system that you find yourselves in, particularly in the Western countries, the pharmaceutical controlled industry, that when you give a chemical to alter your physiology, and figure every chemical that they're giving, you're right, I should call it medicine. Okay, but no, that would be a lie. Okay, it's not a medicine, it's a chemical. And this is what the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, used to be. They used to be called the Chemistry Board, to make sure that you would be okay with the chemicals that they're giving you. So these chemicals, the chemicals to lower cholesterol, the chemicals for antidepressants, even though they cause depression and suicide, the beta blockers, diuretics, those are all blood pressure drugs that increase your risk of stroke. Methotrexate, anti-inflammatories, this means Advil, Motrin, Aleve, anesthetics, antibiotics, all of these change your genetic expression. What would that possibly do? Knowing that your genes have been here for thousands of generations, what would changing your body's ability to produce proteins do? Heart disease, cancer, mental disorders. This is what our population is suffering from. Now, medication-induced mitochondrial damage. So remember, if you damage the mitochondria, you destroy your body's ability to produce healthy cells. What would that end up in? Alzheimer's, schizophrenia, bipolar, Parkinson's, ataxia, can't move, chronic fatigue. What type of drugs do this? Cholesterol-lowering drugs, analgesics such as Tylenol or acetaminophen, many others, psychotropic drugs. All of these, almost every medication out there can cause this symptom. But remember, you're in a psychotic world where the chemical industry is paying the government, funding the media, so that you are given these toxic chemicals. Now, the New England Journal of Medicine, and this is 2015, do you think it's gotten better or worse? Okay. Well, they said, for God's sake, don't go for your annual physical. Okay, it results in a battery of unnecessary tests. It's ineffective in preventing disease. It's unnecessary processes and exams. What makes physicals make sense in theory, but hasn't been borne out in reality. There's an inverse relationship in health. The more money you spend on this system, the sicker you become. Okay, because your body is not designed to do this. I love this, Alan Guerrero, in favor of annual physical. Replacing the traditional fee for service with a payment schedule that takes into account patient outcomes. Do you know that your doctor, if they're prescribing a medication, that they're not responsible for the outcome? So let's say they give you a beta blocker and a diuretic, both of which, if you're taken together, increases your risk of stroke about 60 to 75%. Let's say you get a stroke from that. Okay, the doctor is not liable because he's following a correct protocol based on your diagnosis. So they need to put in patient outcomes. Like, hell, what do? We do pre and post x-rays. We do pre and post nerve scans. We do stuff that nobody else does. That's what they should be doing. Here you go. Altered structure. That's going to alter the nervous system. That's going to alter the adaptation. How about fixing the problem? 5-year study on Parkinson's and multiple sclerosis. Why would an adjustment, changing the proprioception, changing the stimulus up to the brain, alter the brain function? It does. It does. I mean, there's nothing else. Psychobiotics. Okay, now this is anything that damages the gut bacteria. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, what about the chemical that we spray on genetically modified organisms? Granted, they have Terminator technology and Monsanto is going to be taking over the entire country. And now that we're using the glyphosates, okay, to spray it on everything, it's getting all the non-organic wheat products. We have a swath about 500 miles either side of all the major rivers like Mississippi called cancer belts now. Now we know that the glyphosate built by Monsanto is a cancer-causing agent, but it's also an antibiotic that destroys the gut bacteria. You damage the gut bacteria, you're talking emotional, cognitive, gut-brain signaling. And so if you take enough of this stuff, you can run for government. But let's look at the emotional stress, okay? I'm sorry, does anybody know any, and I know there's like 4 or 5 intelligent people that I've seen in our government, okay? Okay, so emotional stress, you got the hypothalamus. It's got 1 foot in the nervous system, 1 foot in the endocrine system. And this gets all the communication from the body. Then the hypothalamus controls the pituitary, which is a master gland. Then that controls all the hormone function. The cerebellum also gets its input from the spine and central nervous system. The cerebellum controls the frontal lobe. So when we're talking brain function, right now, I just showed you how genetic expression is being negatively affected and brains are negatively affected. If you can change that input to the cerebellum, you change anxiety, stress, depression, impulse control. Cognitive affective syndrome. This means that if the cerebellum is getting abnormal stimulus, that means that if you change this input to the cerebellum, you're going to alter the information going in, okay, just like putting in a computer. What will it do? It affect the verbal, affect memory, spatial relationships, inappropriate behavior, language deficit. Again, it must be more governmental employees. Okay, so when you look at this, we have which one has good brain stimulus? I mean, and this is why I've got little kid patients, well, little kid, okay, 18 years old. She wants to be a behavioral therapist, okay, like a counselor. And I said, wow, I'm going to show you how to reprogram the cerebellum, which programs the frontal lobe, something your professors don't know. But why in our world do you go to a psychiatrist and they don't ask about bowel movements, knowing that this is the gut-brain connection? That patient on the right up there has got a leaky gut. That black area on her gut should not be there, okay? And that leaky gut, this is where neurotransmitters are produced. So both of these have an issue. One has a structural, one has a digestive issue. Psychological stress on serum. So if we're watching a scary movie and you happen to be scared of scary movies, I was thinking about this the other day because some people really enjoy that, they wouldn't be stressed by it. I see the teenager going out and jumping into the lake at night and then seeing the hockey mask. I get, oh, okay, I don't like scary movies at all. But look at this. Increases blood viscosity. So under emotional stress, the blood becomes thicker. The blood becomes thicker. Guess what has to happen to blood pressure to adapt to it? So when a person goes to a doctor and they say, oh my gosh, you got high blood pressure. Okay, it's supposed to be taken at 3 different occasions at 3 different times of the day over a 2-week span in order to be diagnosed with high blood pressure. Is that done ever? No, no. Leaky gut on the left, normal gut on the right. Takes about 90 days. But what do you have to do to correct this? There's 3 things. You have to address the physical, chemical, and emotional stressors. Antibiotics weaken the immune system. Cell.com, a cell host and microbe. Why? Antibiotic is a poisonous mold. I think it was Fleming was eating a sandwich in a lab. A piece of his bread fell on this petri dish having bacteria. It became moldy. It comes back on Monday. And sure enough, okay, so antibiotics are poisonous molds, generally. And bacteria adapt. Okay, so knowing that you have 70 trillion cells, those 70 trillion cells, you have 10 times that amount bacteria. And this is in a healthy human being. And the bacteria, you have 10 times that of viruses. You are an ecosystem that is in balance. Okay, you have to do this. You are a rainforest. You have to live in harmony with all of these bacteria and viruses and funguses and parasites. Without them, you die. Okay, you die without these things. So now, what kind of fertilizer are you going to put in the Amazon to make it grow better? No, it's foolishness. Antibiotics are incredibly dangerous. They increase your risk of cancer and they destroy the normal flora, the normal immune system. This is where candida, growth, everything else. So take an antibiotic, it actually weakens your body's an adaptation. Steroids, okay, affect the microbiome, again, weakening the immune system, suppress how your body is going to respond to the environment. Antipyretics, good. Your body develops a fever, which for every 1 degree increase in temperature, the speed of your immune system doubles. And viruses, funguses, and bacteria can die at a higher temperature. So this is your body's first response. Of course, you want to take Tylenol that depletes glutathione, that protects your brain. Of course, you want to take something that weakens not only your immune system, but can damage your kidneys. I mean, that destroys the proteoglycan production of the building block of cartilage. This is an insane system. The right drug at the right time in the right dosage, and this is over 10 years ago, kills over 100,000 people a year. No one's getting prosecuted for this. This means more people that died in the Vietnam War, double, is dying every year from this medical procedures of prescribing a chemical to alter a physiology, a physiologic response, which is typically an adaptation to stress. Institutional corruption of pharmaceutical in the midst of safe and effective drugs. Now, this is 2013. They didn't just go through 3 years of propaganda saying that we're an emergency, okay, based on a flu. Okay, this is 35, I mean, over the past 35 years, largely hidden epidemic of side effects from the drugs that have few offsetting benefits. The pharmaceutical industry has corrupted the practice of medicine over what drugs are developed and how the medical knowledge is created. What's interesting is the FDA, through user fees from 1992, the prime clients, and this is called regulatory capture. If you were flying in a plane and Boeing was paying the FAA, would you be confident that the FAA was gauging the planes as safe and effective? Okay, no, you would want them to be independent, right? Because then you could get on a friggin' plane and feel safe. That's not what we got. The industry that produces these chemicals does all the studies. They can do 20 studies, only one of them turn out good. That one they're going to give to the FDA. The FDA is not a testing agency. They test nothing, never any tests. What they do is they look at the test of the people that produce the drugs or the chemicals. Now, since then, they're paying the FDA to review the test of the drugs that they do. Yeah, regulatory capture. And through thorough review of evidence, increased hospitalizations and deaths have resulted since this regulatory capture. So think of this. Is there any study out there that shows that cholesterol, high blood pressure, antibiotics, indigestion, blood sugar, constipation? And I just had a patient today, 8 different prescriptions, okay, and they're taking it for the same thing: high blood pressure, cholesterol, this, and this. And I say, look, don't take the 2 blood pressure pills together, separate them. We're going to get you healthy. I'll show you how to open up a communication with the idiot that gave you the drugs, and then you're going to be able to get off of them. 100% of people that are taking this many drugs, ask them, look them straight in the eye, and say, look, if you were left alone on a deserted island, you had no access to pharmaceuticals, you just had fresh fruit, fresh vegetables, fresh water, fresh fish, okay, would your health improve or decline? 100% of people, guess what they say? Improve. 100%. Okay? And I put them on the spot. If somebody says, well, I don't know, I guessed I'd get, you guess? You're going to guess on your health? What do you think your grandmother would say? Okay, doc, I would improve. Okay, I hear it all the time. Yeah, so just fix the problem. You only have 3 things to fix: physical, chemical, emotional stress. Cancer. Are the tumors formed by demons, or did your body form the tumors? Again, this is how you change the mindset. Remember, you're in the allopathetic model that's killing people. Okay, oh, your body forms the tumors? Then the body must form them for a reason. knowing that lymph, the face, mouth, and lungs drain to the right area. This is why 15% of breast cancers are here. Gut drains up to the upper left quadrant. This is why 85% of breast cancers are on the upper left quadrant. So you know where they're forming and why they're forming. This is why they can do an operation on the breast, radiate, chemotherapy, everything else. They were declared cancer free. Have you ever heard of anyone like that? And raise your hand if it came back, if you've heard of it. Absolutely, all the time, because you're not going after the source of it. Okay? Find the problem. The tumor and the cancers is not the problem. It's the adaptation to the stressors. This, again, do before and after. Find out where the problem is, identify the problem, and correct it. We already got 9 lessons from the blue zones. Areas around the world that people are living consistently over 100. Okay? This is the key. There is no massive challenge. There's no special herb or superfood. Okay? Regular, moderate physical exercise. You move every joint every day. You have to have a purpose for getting up. Okay? Stress reduction. This means physical, chemical, emotional stress. Moderate calorie intake, plant-based diet, only because plants are more abundant. You can eat animals. This doesn't mean vegan. It's okay. Make sure they're healthy. Moderate alcohol intake, especially wine. Sardinians, oldest lived males on the planet, 7 liters of red wine a month. But I'm sure it's organic. I'm sure they grow it. I'm sure they ferment it. So they're getting good minerals in it. Engagement in spirituality or religion. Boy, that's doing good in America. Okay, engagement in family life, engagement in social life. It seems too simple. Okay, but then you look at this. Family. You care about others. Okay, less smoking. They say not no smoking, less. Okay, 20% of centenarians still smoke. I mean, Renee Calmet smoked till she was 115, and she lived to 122. She just felt she didn't stop because she wanted to. She felt it was rude to ask other people to light her cigarette. I love that. It reminds me of my mom, 84, still smoking. Okay. Constant moderate activity. It's literally simple. When people say, well, what kind of diet? What kind of diet? Okay, you're going to eat like your great grandparents. But you know what they did? They ate organic, they ate seasonal, they ate with no preservatives, okay? And they ate varied. Okay, a lot of it was fermented, because that was the preserving process. It works. You need proper nerve supply because this is how you live your life, through the autonomic nervous system. Exercise, nutrition, sufficient rest and prayer and meditation. Oh my God, it's like I took it off of that book. Yeah, it's really that simple. So is this the same thing we put up for cancer? Yeah, because that's an adaptation. Fibromyalgia? Yeah. Bowel disorders? Yeah. Okay, you don't look at the bowel as a problem. You look at it as an adaptation. Now, we're going to get into some censorable information because obviously people are afraid of the information I'm putting out. I am literally considered a domestic terrorist according to our current administration. So those that are watching Dr. BVIP, again, thank you for your support. It is really appreciated. And those with Facebook and YouTube, we're going to see you next week with some more vital information. It's actually going to be a really fun one. Like last week, we talked about viruses, bacteria, and funguses. We're going to talk probably about gut flora, which is really cool.